Welcome back to the Bullish Bears YouTube channel for another session of throwing Cramer under the bus. Well, I think sadly the bus would stop. They got good breaks these days. Darn. That's okay. We're not trying to get rid of him. We love the guy. He's entertaining.
Yeah, and we also need him. I mean, for a contrary indicator, we can't get rid of the guy.
That's true. Very true. We get a lot about market conditions just out of his mouth, and then we can go and make some volatility trades. We love trading volatility. That pays our bills.
Yep.
We'll bring some setups to you guys here, and we actually have a couple good ones today. It's been kind of hard to find decent swings out of Cramer for the past few weeks, but I think we're starting to come into a kind of a seasonality of the market conditions where it starts to provide better setups for better trades. So, over at Bullish Bears, we teach price action. We've been scalping around in this just garbage price action for a while now. We thrive in chop. We love chop. Because we scalp it on a 5-second chart over there. The difference is that we can do that while we're biding our time for the good swing trades. And I know that most of the audience here is looking for swing trades, and we have a few of those set up today, so we'll get right to those. But first, we'll start with SPY. And we kind of are seeing the Bulls and Bears fight things out a bit, but we do have a pretty obvious blow off top happening here, and it's like, well, we're at the critical support point. We're going to decide real soon what's going to happen next. But look at all of this reversion we have possible if things do get bearish. What's your take on it? Do you think we're going to head south, or we're going to hold here for a while?
I think we hold. We're seeing this rotation where you've seen money flow into Dow names, you've seen money flow into the small cap names. That's healthy. The AI stuff, the software stuff, all that stuff got way overbought. Positioning was, way out there. So, you do need some sort of rotation. You want to see this broaden out, but you've got people now really thinking September for the Fed, starting to think about all sorts of rate cuts for next year. I wouldn't be betting against this market. I wouldn't be shocked if today is just kind of the nothing day after, big sell off in SPY yesterday. But, we'll see. I mean, I've got plenty of shorts just in case.
It's a good time to look for better rotation and better swing setups, long or short, in the general equities, not in the indexes, because you got to realize the indexes are pretty much hedged, so they're designed to give you volatility, but they're not really going to give you general market conditions ahead of time. They're gonna lag the equities, so to speak, and then the equities will start to take it down with it. But it's an interesting play because if you're trading SPY or you're trading futures, this kind of volatility is awesome. But if you're looking to trade like option swings and stuff like that on SPY, you're going to get beat up in this until it breaks and gives you a direction, a definitive trade. So for now, we have an if this then that scenario here, where if we break our liquidity zone, I always mark these out in bright orange so they're just ugly and annoying, which is good because it gets my attention. But we have three different possibilities here, and we have either a bounce off of support in this range here, around 555 is actually the critical support. I don't have a pivot there, but look left, there's a consolidation. If it holds 555, we could come back in to give a half or whole liquidity range trade up in here. But if we set up a bearish measured move across the accumulation, that gives us a south target all the way down here to like 550, so a nice 5-point move below. That is possible, but I think in the meantime, we're probably likely to consolidate at least for today and then break over or break back to a bull move. So you're on point with that. I think the equities are going to kind of give it the go, and you have seen some rotation out of tech and into some of the small caps, and boy, the small caps have been kicking butt lately. So it's kind of any man's land at this point, and no man's land is right here. So we're waiting to see which side of no man.
I think you want to be diversified, and you want to have some longs and you want to have some shorts.
Exactly. So trade the rotation. If you look at like DIA, you kind of got. Whoops! Why didn't that go? you kind of got this just absolute perfect, bullish setup here. It's almost to the half point. I got a target up here at about 421 on the DIA. And it's played out just beautifully. I mean, this has been where the swing traders have been. They've been in a lot of the industrials and TNA to boot. I mean, TNA has been kind of on a tear. We've come out of this rounding bottom. We've given this really nice bullish trade. We've got a 1-for-1 almost complete here. About 52 would be the mark. Really good trades. So this is all the small caps, and this is a leveraged bull. I love trading the wheel on this thing, by the way. Long story short, we're definitely seeing some rotation. That's obvious across the indexes too. So you can trade the rotation with the indexes, or you can scalp the futures, scalp the indexes, or the ETFs in the indexes, or go trade the equities. And we love doing all of it. So here we are.
Yep.
Getting into Cramer's list, we've got some interesting things coming up. Some of the stuff he said buy, I shook my head at. But we'll get into that.
As usual, but yeah.
We'll get into that with starting with this fairly recent IPO. He said, buy this thing. Dude, would you buy that? No, I'm going to wait.
What's the symbol there?
RBRK. I have no idea what they even do, nor do I care, but price action is price action. Plain to see an angular resistance here. Maybe it'll hit $36. So short term, can we give them a quarter kudo maybe? Okay. But I think it's going to play this range and then probably go for a reversion trade, but that's just typical, IPO stuff. Hype wave sells off, market structure takes over. I mean, rinse, repeat. However many IPOs you've ever seen that didn't do this. So I wouldn't necessarily go chasing Cramer's word in this. I wouldn't buy this on his word, but for a quick scalp, sure. He did.
Yeah, I don't even know about. I mean, yeah, it could make a run to 36, but I mean, there are other things I'd rather buy than this.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of those where you wouldn't want to own this thing just yet. Let the traders handle it first, and then we'll see where the swings go. But I certainly wouldn't take Cramer's word for this thing up and buy it.
No.
If you look at this janky, choppy stuff, you do see a fairly good 1-for-1's already completed. If it rejects up here, a reversion trade's pretty obvious to like $32. So maybe it'll produce a decent short in the near future. Half a kudo for an overnight buy. Okay, it hit that target. There's your Cramer bar. There's your counter Cramer bar. That's another where we got a patent, counter Cramer bar. I like that.
There's a Cramer bar. Yeah.
We get all kinds of creative over here. Moving on, he also said buy PLD. Okay, I mean, for the short term, I had this mapped out a while ago for a 2-for-1, and it pretty much wicked right out of that target. One more day to make a solid move to it. Okay, I can buy that. Short term.
Yeah, no. I mean, the time to buy it was when it broke the 200-day at 116.57, not 8 points later.
When I say buy, it's a day trade.
Yeah, okay.
Looking pretty simple fib stuff. I don't usually go with full fib math, but that looks like the 86.6 fib level to me, plain as day with the top of that wick. So I don't expect it to break out of that high. I expect it to get rejected up here and come back for a reversion trade. So yeah, when I say buy day trade, that's already done, guys. They're starting to sell it already. Look for a rejection clean off of that measured move and start looking for bearish movement. And, you look pretty double toppy here, sir. So I'm not going to give him a kudos to say, buy it yesterday. Yeah, for a minute. But I'm going to say that there's going to be a counter Cramer bar in effect here pretty quick. We'll start using that word more often. Moving on, JB Hunt, been around forever. It's pretty great freight company, but I don't think I want to buy it just yet. Look a little further left, guys. This is where the long monthly charts really pay off. That is a critical support area, and we broke it.
And we also broke the 50-day at 161.24, which to me means you could be on your way back to 155.
Very easily, and even further south possible if this whole setup breaks over. And I agree, this is looking like a great short. You got your, this is your Cramer bar. This isn't the counter Cramer bar. He said buy it. Thunk. We're looking for half a move down for the day trade target to about 159-ish, 159.50. We smoked that, dude. We got a hell of a long way to go. 155 is an easy bear target. And then beyond that, if we break down through that support, that's one hell of a bear flag with the old pop and drop at the end. Sorry, guys. This is going to be a good short. I don't think I would buy that at all. Sorry, Kramer. Well, not sorry, Kramer. You did dirty there, dude. Yeah. Sorry, man. It's just we got to get a really thick skin when we become traders. So we got to have a dark sense of humor. We'll throw Kramer around the ring a little bit, beat him up. We got to say some things. Plus, we got to be entertaining too.
Exactly.
This other one he said buy HUBB. Hubble. I don't know, man. I think that says I'm gonna be a reversion trade if I break this pivot at 558 all over it, and we got pretty basic targets down here. Not 558, 358. 326 is in order, the next support area if it breaks this pivot here. This might be a good short setup too, but look left. That's been one hell of a bull trend. Obviously, it's had seasonality as well. It gives good pullbacks. So if we find a good short or reversion target, it's actually a little further south here. Maybe look for a 330 move. But other than that, this is a definite topping pattern. I wouldn't buy it here. I'd wait for this to settle and either accumulate on this 358.50 and then give us a bull swing later, or if it gives us a...
Yeah, on this one, I think he's looking at it as an AI kind of infrastructure name. And I mean, they're just better ones. Yeah.
I definitely say there's some better plays out there.
Well, I mean, there's some better kind of dip buy opportunities like VRT and VST, which I wouldn't buy now because there's a lot of white space out there on those dips, but those are names I'd be looking at more.
Yeah, we've definitely got a nice looking Cramer bar on this one. Yeah, there's plenty of better buys out there, but slow and steady for an investor standpoint, I wouldn't say buy it here. I'd say wait for this to accumulate. Let the day traders and swing traders knock this out before you go and take any investment advice from Cramer there. That, and I don't really care for the options chain on this thing. It just is not appealing.
Yeah.
So I'll wait and see if this is going to give us a swing. But for now, it's not one we're necessarily interested in unless we take a good bear swing out of it. Maybe short it down to like 358.50 and call it a day. Maybe finish that move. Just because Cramer said buy it.
Yep.
General Dynamics, that can be interesting here. We've got China rattling the cage again. Okay, Cramer. Half a kudo. You said buy this one. Well, we may end up with a counter Cramer bar right up at that 86.6 fib, so watch for a move. Maybe extends to about 296.75 or so on General Dynamics here, or just the top of that bar. Mark it out. It's plain to see right there. It's almost like price action gives you a roadmap to what to expect, right?
Yeah.
And we can see this started to look like a head and shoulders top until it broke the neckline here with this current bar. And we're looking to go bullish on this one. I think I can agree with Cramer to say buy this one in the short term.
I could too. I mean, we had an undercut and rally at the 50-day today. Got a lot of resistance around 300. I also wonder about the Trump trade and how people are going to play the defense contractors. Whether
Right.
that's bullish or bearish. My sense is bearish, but I'm not going to ignore the fact it moved 14 points in a very short period of time.
Good point. And then if we also do the old draw the block and run the measured move setups here, about the middle is where that pivot is. So Yeah, I think 296 and a half, 296.75 is going to be a good bull target for this thing short term. Long term, you're right. I mean, if we start leaning on Trump's going to take office, he's not going to take crap from China like that. He's going to sanction the hell out of them, and then all of a sudden the threat of war kind of fades away. And the old adage
And
goes
I'm thinking more about Ukraine, not about China.
that too. And the old adage goes, sell the threat, buy the invasion. I mean, that's been tried and true. Do we really see an invasion happening here? Well, I don't know. They might rattle the saber a little bit and make some more threatening noises. And of course, you've got some Japanese officials saying that it's imminent. But, there's been so many chicken littles out there screaming the sky is falling, this and that. And, I just really don't see anything to really shake up the market that badly. But short term, I can agree. I think that 296.75 target is pretty solid for a nice trade. So, okay, we'll throw Cramer a bone on this one. I think I kind of like this one. Moving on to the next one, we gotta respect your time here because I know you got to be out at about 11:45. So I'm gonna try and breeze through some of these, and then we can shoot the breeze afterwards. FWRD, forward air. Yeah, short term again. It's set up for a nice reversion trade. There's a potential. If you look at the entire weekly trend, that thing's massive. There's a potential if we break above this 28.50, which is a nice one-for-one bullish reversion trade to this level of accumulation. If this thing breaks out and trends, I could see it hitting that 65. Market structure would predict that it wouldn't do that because this is not consolidated long enough yet. But there's a chance that things could be quite volatile in the future and say we get back to a reversion trade on this thing. So I'd say in the short term, it's good for a buy and run to that target, that 28.50, start taking some profit off there. But if I were to see it get extended above, let's say, the previous consolidation high here, about $30, $31, we could see this thing go ballistic. I've seen it happen before. It's pretty rare. Usually market structure does exactly this, fades off and then accumulates forever. And when everybody's not looking, that's when it makes the move for a reversion trade. So,
Yep.
Short term, good bull trade.
I'd rather see it come into some support here, but nothing stands out to not like.
Agreed. I think this is set up for a decent little swing here in the short term, and then if it holds support here and accumulates even longer, that's great because then it'll likely finish that move and hit that bull target. In the meantime, just be a little nimble on this thing. It can give you a quick explosive move, nail that target, and then rip down. Snapchat was a good example for market structure. It went right up to that resistance, played just a little overreach in a wick, and then popped right back down in that support area, and then just went sideways forever. Great trade. I caught it from the bottom and ripped it right up to that. And this is kind of a similar situation. You can catch it. It would have been a better buy back when it was like $20.50. But for now, I think it can still be a buy high, sell higher situation at 25 to 28. I think it's got a good shot at that. Good shot at follow through. I don't know that I'm all that interested in trading it other than just equity. I'm particularly an options trader, but sometimes I'll take an equity swing. Why not? That one looks pretty fair for a setup. So we'll give Cramer a pat on the back for that one. Let's see here. FHN, First Horizon Corporation. That has been one of his favorites, I think. He talks about this one a lot.
On the regional banks, yes.
Yeah. And I think last time we talked about it, we talked about this reversion trade up to this liquidity zone or up to the mean from high to low on this trend here on the weekly. And we've certainly hit the nail on the head with that one, but now he's still saying buy it again? No, dude. That's where the liquidity is. This is where the supply zone is for those of you who trade supply and demand. That is it. That's where the sellers are going to be. Reversion trade, hello, right back to that 1570 pivot. So don't just up and buy this thing. I think we're going to get a counter Cramer bar right to that reversion target first. Let it accumulate there for a while. We'll see what regional banks do, but they're a mess right now.
So keep an eye. The regional banks is something near and dear to my heart because we've got SCRE.
Yeah.
And keep an eye on the regional banks. They have moved more than you'd expect an AI stock to move over the past couple of days, and that's because of the yield curve. But nothing has really changed on commercial real estate and all that stuff. And interestingly, we over the past week or so have seen the best volume and inflows we've ever seen on SCRE. So somebody is accumulating that.
Wonder if they're
Also, I personally, one of my short models yesterday triggered shorts in like 5 different regional banks. I would be extremely careful here.
agreed. And I, that liquidity zone on this particular one was plain as day. It's right there. There's a supply zone. I think I got to wonder, is this maybe some institutions using SKRE as a hedge in case they have long positions?
I don't know what they're doing, but every day we're seeing decent volume, better than we've ever seen. And we're seeing inflows. I mean, we're down every day because regional banks are going up, but somebody is either hedging or betting they're going to go down.
I'm going to have to do some digging. I'm going to see if I can figure out where JP Morgan's collar strategy is. That'll give us a clue.
Could be.
Yeah, I think I like this to be bearish. Looking for reversion trade first, 1570. That's an obvious target. If it breaches that, hell, we got 1380 down here. It's easy to hit. And it certainly has been, fairly parabolic in this short-term upswing, and it definitely has some volatility to it. This particular one, this is one of Cramer's dolls, and I think we're going to get a very quick counter Cramer bar out of this. I think today they're going to rock this right down to that 1570 target pretty easily. That's just my opinion, but look here, it's already rejected the mean from this high to this low, so yeah, I like it for a short, and I think SKRE is going to start picking up even more inflow. Just my opinion.
I mean, again today, we've traded almost 100,000 shares.
Wow, nice. I'm gonna look at SKRE real quick.
And it's only 11:30, so
it's at a nice low. I might pick some up here.
I own that too, but I'm also short some individual regional banks, so I think something's gonna pop.
And I love the reversion setup on SKRE. As a matter of fact, now we have given full disclosure. He runs this. I'm going to own it today. But you guys do what you will on that. That's just our opinion. It's not financial advice. But this setup is pretty plain to see. You've got a really nice bearish move that's almost complete. And we saw that quick spike in buying volume in the regional banks. We've just about hit that bear target about 1750, close enough. Reversion trade's obvious, 2150. So if this thing starts to pick up some more inflow, that's where it's going. And
and turn it around and take a look at CRE.
right.
Does that look like regional banks? Look at that move.
Yeah,
that's like a NVIDIA move.
Right? It's stupid parabolic. And that reversion's even bigger. That goes from 56.80 where we're at now down to like $52. It's pretty obvious. There's your accumulation. There's your 1-for-1 off that pivot. We've been trading this a time or two, guys. This is a pretty easy one. And look at the daily. That is straight up vertical. It's got to give back some. That's a textbook NVIDIA move.
Yep.
That's going in the textbooks, by the way. Textbook NVIDIA move. That's a statement, guys. And if we have time when we get through the last couple of buys and the sell that's on the list here, we'll give a quick overview on NVIDIA as well. I've got some stuff on that's working out really well. Moving on, he said buy Google. There's your Cramer bar. Look at Google and you look at this. This move has been pretty choppy, but it's been solid with the measured moves. And at think we're going to hit this accumulation around 176 to 175 range pretty quick here, down from Cramer saying buy it at 182. Muppet.
Yeah, and it just got through the 50-day too. So that,
Yeah,
I mean, technically for me, if I were trading it, that'd be a short right here.
it's ticking over. It's still a good short. I think we're going to run right to that 175, 176 range pretty easy. Will it bounce there? That's a good question, because if you look at the monthly chart, that's nowhere near a full reversion target down here to 138. And pretty obvious. There's your 1-for-1 up. There's your accumulation. That's where the pivot is. If this thing breaks into momentum here to give back a bunch of this trend, that's where it's going. And we have seen that rotation begin here. So, that money's coming out of tech. And that tech is pretty well overbought. So all the targets play out pretty readily.
Yep.
AVAY is another Aero environment. Yeah, I got a pretty good bearish setup out of this one. Cramer bar is obvious. Even on the weekly chart, you can see the damn thing.
What's the symbol?
AVAV.
Oh, AVAV. All right, yeah, I know.
Did I say AVAY? I'm sorry.
You said AVAY.
My bad. My screen over here to the left is too small. I need a bigger monitor. I'll get one.
Yeah, this looks bearish to me as well. I mean, 191 would have been a better spot, but certainly doesn't look like a buy. I think this is a drone company, if I'm not mistaken.
I've got a couple pivots laid out. This will be a swing trade setup for bears, and a good sell-off is already underway. It broke the mean here between these two measured move targets, and we've got half and whole pretty obvious here. We've got accumulation back here. The 148.88 is about the middle of that move, or let's just round it. 148 even would be a good target for the middle of this. If bearishness continues beyond that, we've got a pretty obvious fair value gap in play here too, to take it all the way down to like 120, 121. And I think the bearish setup's pretty clean on this thing. And if you look left, we've got pretty obvious seasonality that it makes very clean measured moves down repeatedly. And we've got this parabolic trend here on the monthly that's obviously got to give a good, at least a half back on that measure. And it's certainly playing nice with that. So bears are all over this. Cramer said buy it. I don't think so, Jim. I think we go lower. I got to pull the Tim the Toolman show there. I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so, Jim. Hope I don't get sued. He said sell something. You got one on the list. This CEG? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is a utility that's involved in AI power generation. So, all that stuff moved up high. It's all correcting. There's a lot of white space between where it is now and like the 200-day, but this is something I would be looking to buy dips on.
I agree with you on that. And
not right here, but I would be looking to buy dips on it.
I literally drew two lines with this thing to plot it out. And this is a nice broadening pattern at the top of a bull trend. Very typically, they'll make a measured move from regression to outside of angular support. And it's broken that. It's hit the key pivot here at 180.60. And there's an angular target a little lower, so maybe around 175. Look for a reversal there. We may find that dip buying opportunity on this later on when it hits that number. So give Cramer a little credit for saying sell this. This is a good sell. I like this. This is pretty much dead on. Good stuff. He actually looked at a chart maybe. But maybe. But look for buyers right around this area, and it's got some wicks in this area that would produce a fair area for liquidity to appear right in there, and it lines right up with our angular. So this is setting up to be a future trade where we might see that reversal take shape. It might confirm in that area. It might give us a good trade setup. So keep eyes on this thing. Don't forget about this one. This could be a good play later on. And if it gets bullish, a reversion trade gives us a quick $20 move. We like that kind of volatility, so definitely don't forget about this one. We got time to talk about NVIDIA for maybe 5 minutes.
Sure.
And NVDX has seen some moves or inflow coming in, and there's some dip buyers, and I think there's some retail money kind of following suit to take into the dip buying mode. Key pivot I had on this thing is 115.60, and if it breaks that, we can certainly take a reversion trade.
115.55 is the 50-day moving average, which it is stabilized at 2 days in a row.
So it makes sense to hold there, and if it holds there, I think I like the bullish reversion trade better. 127.90 is an order. I think you want to be very, very quick to watch for a confirmed reversal at that 115.55 or 115.60 area. I just kind of drew a line on it, basically undercut this bull hammer right here. But the idea is, if things somehow keep stacking up against the chips, so to speak, not to intend any puns, we can see a bearish move to 102 possible, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to get backed up pretty good by a bunch of retail falling into it and taking it higher. I really do. Yes, that parabolic move is just insanity. Yes, it can give a very volatile pullback. If news hits this thing to where their sky is falling or things are falling apart in a company or something really just nasty happens in the political environment, who the hell knows? Be aware that it can give you a quick sell-off, but in the meantime, I think we might be looking for bulls here, and I think the retail has rotated a lot of capital into this thing, so we could see some pretty nice moves, and reversion trades are pretty obvious. So, I almost want to say that it's very close. The options chain is starting to fit my needs for NVDX to start becoming a really good wheel trade in this. And then you split it recently, haven't you? Or you're talking about it?
We just did a 10-for-1 split. So yeah, it did not go down 90%.
Yeah. There it is. So now it's affordable. And retail rotating liquidity into NVIDIA equals retail will also be very interested in NVDX because it's affordable and it's leveraged.
Right. I mean, now it's, a lot less per share than NVIDIA, which to me is the real advantage to levered and inverse ETFs for retail guys.
And the bid ask on the options chain is really starting to tighten up. So I'm looking at a prime spot to wheel trade it very quickly here, and I think as soon as I see that confirmed reversal on NVIDIA, I'm in. I like it. I'll start getting some liquidity on that. And then the other two quick mentions. So we got a minute. You just opened up a bull and bear Bitcoin.
Spot Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yeah. So BTCL and BTCZ. And again, the cool thing for you guys is you can't get spot options on iBit or any of those. That's a rule right now. BlackRock's trying to get it changed, but it's a rule.
Right.
We have options on these products. We're not there yet. We've got a total of 4 million in AUM across both. So, it'll be a little bit, but we do have options.
And I'm looking at this. I did sell cash covered puts at the money on opening day in this thing that actually didn't. Or I tried to sell them. They didn't fill the first day. They did fill the second day, and I've got a really nice entry on the bottom of NVD or BTCZ. So far, that's starting to pick up a little momentum. I didn't get filled on the bull, and that kind of annoyed me because it made a nice move to 30. But comparatively, just Bitcoin real quick. Put the regular candles in there. Looking at Bitcoin, I've got pretty obvious reversion trades set up on this thing, and it's kind of playing ball. But this accumulation in this descending broadening pattern says it'll likely play back to about 60K and then kick us back through 63.5 and up to 65 again. If it breaks out of 65 one more time after that pullback, and it has given us that pullback on the weeklies already, we could see some serious bullish movement in Bitcoin. And in the meantime, short term, it's looking to pull back in this channel one or two more times, possibly. And today it certainly gave us a quick scare. Right off of that 63.5, by the way. So we're kind of looking like we could see some accumulation on both sides. And if you're using leveraged ETFs, if you long both of them, eventually the fees will kind of diminish them over time. But if you learn how to sell options on them, they're great, because the volatility on leveraged ETFs is awesome to sell options on. And if I'm looking at yields, like I'm trading my TNA wheel. It's averaging about 19% monthly for options income, just half passively trading it. I've been swinging in and out of the options on that when price action provides, but more or less I've just been letting stuff kind of idle until I can roll it to the next expiration. That's been a nice yield. 19% monthly for a fairly passive trade strategy is great. But when you can run both a bullish and a bearish leveraged ETF at the same time, theoretically you're looking at darn near 40% if you can do both efficiently. I want to look to that future because it provides a lot. We've seen with the Tesla bullish and bearish ETFs. Likewise, I missed the boat on getting in at the neutral point before they started diverting from each other. But had I gotten into that, and had I been able to play nice with the bid-ask spread on the options chain, I would have been able to do very well with that, just selling options on it. And 40% would have been the benchmark, not just the goal, the benchmark for income on that. I've just kind of been playing it by looking at it on paper. And I missed the boat getting into that. That's why I jumped into the Bitcoin ones. So I'm looking to get my position and start wheeling those. That's about all of our time. We're over your time. I know you got to go. I appreciate your time as usual, and thanks again for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and thank you, Matthew, for doing this with us. We've been loving this. See you next week. Have a great one.